My message to the youth: don't be a follower. Just be yourself. Love your brothers and your sisters. Get money. Stay safe. You're not alone, even if you feel like you are. You know what I mean? And that's hard. That's really, you can't just feel better. But you gotta like have the strength to just try to look at the bright side.
You're riding on his coattails. No one knows you.
Shut the fuck up, nigga. That nigga even fuck with you like that, bitch.
I had an ex that would fall asleep. No lie. I'll nut on her hair.
When you think of the name Lil Tracy, what comes to your mind? Is it him being Lil Peep's best friend, or some would say a leecher? Is it him being that black guy who made emo music that was in Golf Boy Clique? Is it him being that typical SoundCloud rapper during his heyday when everybody had face tattoos and SoundCloud was at its all-time peak during the late 2010s? Is it when DJ Academics dissed him on his Twitch live stream for him stealing Axe Girl?
You're not bruh. All I was saying, you're not popping. I was just telling you the truth. You're not popping, bro.
Is it when he had an emotional breakdown performance after his friend died and he started crying? Or is it simply you just don't know who he is at all? Cause that could be the case, more than likely.
Yeah, you heard me?
Lil Tracy is an artist that you may not know but had more impact on the music scene than you realize, especially for the emo rap subgenre, getting overshadowed by people like Lil Uzi, Juice WRLD, Trippie Redd, XXXTentacion, and even his closest friend Lil Peep, with Lil Peep getting most of the limelight and attention on him, but never really getting that same exposure for him, which could have been a multitude of different reasons. But at the end of the day, you can't deny the legacy he's left behind, whether it was for his collabs and friendship with Lil Peep, his stylistic grunge sound in his music evolving and changing throughout the years, or even his involvement in Golf Boy Clique. Tracy is without a doubt an emo rap legend, making music as a rock star and living like one. Tracy was born on October 3rd, 1995 in Teaneck, New Jersey, with his real name being Jazz Butler. Tracy was literally born into the music industry, with both of his parents already being established musicians. His dad, named Ishmael Butler, more commonly known as Butterfly, was already part of a rap group called Diggable Planets, where they would make jazz and alternative rap during the early 90s, and was signed to Pendulum Records in 1992, releasing their gold certified album called Reaching, a new refutation of time and space. And in 2009, Ishmael would form another hip-hop group called Shabazz Palaces, and would change his stage name to Palacier Lazaro, releasing 5 more studio albums with this group. His mom, Cheryl Gamble, more commonly known as Coco, was 1/3 of the SWV group, Sisters with Voices, becoming the staples in the 90s for the R&B genre, releasing successful songs like Weak, I'm So Into You, and Right Here, and becoming one of the best female selling groups of all time, with it being reported that they sold over 25 million copies worldwide, and even Tracy's mother making a song dedicated to him called Sunshine. So it's clear as day that the music route was Tracy's destiny since birth. He'd be on tour buses with me all over the world, his mother says. After a couple years when Tracy was born, his parents would split up, where he would remain with his mom and she would get married to another guy and she would move to Virginia Beach. Tracy hated it there but also loved it at the same time. He would love skating through the suburbia of his neighborhood and listen to punk music too, which he would have a new profound love for it when he discovered the soundtrack for Tony Hawk's Pro Skater game, where he would say it changed his life and his whole outlook. Also having favorite bands like South Central Riot Squad and The Pins. Because because of the music he would listen to, he would start to develop this rebellious attitude where at times he would get into it with his mom and run away from home, and he always constantly got in trouble in school and hated it. He also around this time would develop a love for rap music, becoming fans of southern rappers like Soulja Boy and Waka Flocka Flame while playing Saints Row 2 on his Xbox, and still constantly getting in trouble at school. And in his teenage years, his rebellion would reach another level, cause by the time he was a freshman in high school, only in his first week of starting, he would get expelled, with the reason being that he had a knife on him and it fell out his book bag. Due to this, he was forced to go to an alternative school, where there it was even a worse environment. Teachers didn't care about the students, there were other delinquent alternative kids there, and the cafeteria became like a drug haven for them, with Tracy saying that he would get hooked on drugs there too, literally only going there just to get psychedelics and eat breakfast, so eventually he would stop going altogether. In 2009, Tracy would discover this online website called Tumblr, where he would go by the name Soulja Witch, and would post stuff like lo-fi rap, Witch House, and Kawaii Golf, while listening to rap music and blame a cat on acid. But at the age of 16, after constantly getting into fights and arguments with his mom, he would run away from his home, but this time staying away for good, self-inflictively becoming homeless, and he would end up still in a tent and camp out at a forest nearby with a couple of his friends. And when they needed money, they would go to a fountain downtown where coins would be thrown by pedestrians and take money out of it just to get some McDonald's. But during the time of Tracy's homelessness, music would become his main motivation, being on his laptop all day at McDonald's or at a friend's house recording music, with some of his earliest works being lo-fi material or influence, and would go by the alias Young Bruh. Tracy wouldn't blow up from this, but he would get a little traction online, gaining the attention of LA producer Ned Darb, who convinced Tracy to move out to California with him to take music more serious, also being part of the collective Thrax House. Tracy would eventually move in with Ned and a couple of other Thrax House artists in Boyle Heights, where they would just hang out, take drugs, and make music all day. And on one occasion when Ned Darb was throwing away his old clothes, he asked Tracy did he want his old Tracy McGrady jersey, and Tracy said yes, and he would give himself the moniker Lil Tracy, and the name stuck. Lil Peep and Tracy first met back in May 2016 when Lil Peep was throwing a house party in Pasadena. Within the first couple of minutes of Lil Peep and Tracy talking to each other, Peep would tell him that he has an open verse on his song called White Tea and he wanted him to hop on, which of course Tracy did and completed his verse and make a music video that same night. That was probably the happiest I had been in a long time, Tracy saying, and Peep would respond back by saying, bro, we're gonna change the world.
You see me shining in my white tee, it's easy. I'll make it look easy, believe me, we Gucci.
Around this time, Thrax House had dozens of members from previous groups or former bands, and guys like Wicked Face, Spring Eternal, Cold Heart, and Horsehead all wanted a new identity and a group name, something more focused on a dark theme, and on one occasion, Wicca would eventually find it while he was on Tumblr receiving a beat from Cold Heart, and the beat was called Golf Boy Click, and the name stuck from there, with Tracy later joining the group too, calling themselves the punks of the scene, and will release their debut mixtape called Yeah It's True. But Tracy's collaboration with Peep were the tracks that were taken off, gaining millions of views on YouTube and streams on SoundCloud, getting blog sites and fans starting to post and retweet their songs, and gaining countless amounts of followers day by day. It seemed like that everything was in the ups for Tracy and he was very excited about it, but that necessarily really wasn't the case.
That's when I was like, man, you know what, man, fuck these niggas, bro. Man, you heard? Like, fuck these niggas, like.
While Tracy's buzz was rising and increasing at a steady rate due to his collaborations with Lil Peep with songs like White Wine, Backseat, Gods, I Crash You Crash, Witchblades, Peep's popularity overshadowed Tracy's entirely, and it even got to a point their collaborations would be called Lil Peep songs, excluding Tracy out of it as if he was some backup singer or didn't exist, even getting to a point that blog sites would post their collaboration songs but only give credit to Lil Peep, causing a power dynamic between the two, with Peep's manager calling Tracy a jackal that was leeching off of him. But Tracy felt like Lil Peep's stardom that was shadowing over his had everything to do with race. I felt like race had something to do with it and the type of music that we were doing. I know for a fact, to some kids, I'm the only black person that they might have ever messed with music wise. There was a point where people would mention that I was black every day. I do agree that the type of demographic that Tracy was making music for was predominantly white, and a lot of them probably related to Peep more than Tracy aesthetically and just overall, but I think Peep became more of a star than Tracy was because he had that it factor who knew how to make good music. He was more relatable, his music became more vulnerable, and just overall he was making more hit songs with or without Tracy. While for Tracy himself, we knew what his songs were, but it was because Peep was on them.
When they would do write-ups on us, they would never mention me. His manager was just kind of a dick. Like, I would be staying at Peep's house sometimes because I didn't have a fucking house. His manager would come in, see me and shit, he'd be like, oh, you gotta leave. And I look at Peep, he wouldn't really be able to say nothing. And then I'd be like, word.
Their relationship almost seemed like X and Ski Masses, where they both had fan bases and their own SoundCloud buzz, but obviously X's clout was on another level, and due to that, to a lot of casual fans, Ski Mask was seen as an X protege, or X's best friend, who was a rapper, but we only cared about what X wanted first. And I remember between them, they also got into it because of this power dynamic, or Ski Mask not getting his own identity if he always stayed with X.
I had to distance myself because it's like nobody would see me as an individual rapper.
Tracy and Peep would eventually have a falling out due to some people speculating that Tracy would get jealous of him and felt like Peep wasn't giving him his props that he should have been given, and would even carry some anger and resentment towards Peep over the Twitter and Instagram Live. Despite the mishaps though, Tracy would still have a very successful year in 2017, releasing commercial mixtapes like Tracy Manga, XOXO, and Life of a Pop Star, spawning tracks like This Year, Digital, Drunk Punks, Percent, all going crazy, and even would collab with notable artists like Famous Dex, Lucky, YSL Duke, and Uno the Activist. In late 2017, Tracy would move to Miami for a couple months and stay there with a guy named Bruno Dickums. Now if you don't know who Bruno Dickums is, just do a quick Google research and you'll see what he do. He's basically a guy who shoots scenes of rappers having relations with movie actors. And I'm not talking about the movie actors you see in theaters. On November 15, 2017, everything in Tracy's life would change. His close friend, collaborator, and peer Lil Peep would pass away due to him overdosing on Xans laced with fentanyl while on his tour bus. And this really hit a chord for Lil Tracy, knowing that they didn't end on the best terms, but tried to reconnect with him before his death, even asking him while he was on tour if he could come to one of his shows. The death of Peep really hit Tracy hard, and just a couple days later at a show in Boston, Tracy would really show how he felt about it, having an emotional breakdown while trying to perform Lil Peep's verse on Witchblades. Tracy would even diss other rappers mentioning Peep like XXXTentacion and Lil Pump, under the presumption that they were using his death for clout, and they were saying RPs just to get some likes and retweets.
We're gonna start a whole new wave and a whole new movement called Fuck Xanax. If I see anyone post them doing Xanax online, you fucking stupid. If you promote drug use and you promote Xanax after Lil Peep died, you fucking stupid. Stop doing Xanax 2017.
When Lil Peep passed away, sadly, a part of Tracy did too mentally, where he would become more angrier and go on random rants on Twitter. He would become a lot more emotional due to people blaming him for Peep's death, and any artist or YouTuber that would mention Peep in a good or bad way would catch the wrath of Tracy's rage. Even for somebody as notable as Juice WRLD, where he flat out gave a tribute to X and Peep and Legends, where he mentioned how Peep passed away and Tracy was not feeling it one bit. Even on Twitter on another occasion, Tracy would tweet out that he would mass shoot the kids at his shows and would give out the threat saying you better be careful, which of course at the very next show they shut it down due to this threat, and he had to be taken away from an ambulance and go to a psychiatric ward for 10 days. But despite all the mental setbacks that Tracy was going through, 2018 was a very successful year for him and arguably his best, with him first releasing his project Tracy World and then following it up with the biggest song of his career called Like a Farmer, with Uzi hopping on the remix a week later, with the song blowing up for its parody-like country style delivery and arguably paving the way for songs like Old Town Road. But Tracy again would go through another mishap, and this time it was something far more serious. He would suffer from a heart attack after hanging out with some friends and drinking a bottle mixed with lean and THC, which he described it as a weed lean bottle, with the reason why he drank it was cause he was thirsty, not knowing that it was filled up with lean. And shortly after, he felt a severe heartache, so he would leave and run out to the streets, where he ran into some fans and they asked him what was wrong with him, and he replied back to the fans saying that his heart hurt and he felt like that he was gonna have a seizure. So the fans told him to hop into their car and they would take him to the hospital. After suffering this, he would drop a song called Heart. Tracy would eventually fall out with Golf Boy Clique due to the fakeness that he sensed in the group following Peep's death, and claimed that some members in the group weren't as close to Peep as you think they were.
When I fell out with Peep, everybody, man, fuck Tracy, man, fuck, man, oh man. Then as soon as Peep died, oh, Tracy, we fuck with you, we fuck, you know what, fuck all that shit, nigga, I'm Dolo Gang, man. Oh, Peep this, Peep that, nigga, shut the fuck up, nigga. That nigga even fuck with you like that, bitch. People used to tell me he ain't even fuck with you like that, nigga.
He will also get into it with academics due to him stealing Act's girl, and Act was emotional and drunk, and would take his anger out on Tracy by calling him irrelevant instead of him being mad at his own girl, embarrassing himself throughout the whole situation and getting clowned on by fans.
Nigga, you flex with her on the gram like a gay best friend. I don't flex with chicks on the fucking gram. Why are you tapping me? I'm going too hard? I know. I go hard. I'm sorry.
In the most recent couple of years, Tracy's still doing his thing. He's still making music, releasing multiple EPs and projects like Designer Talk 2, Anarchy, and Saturn Child, and he's still making his own wave and changing his own sound in the music scene still to this day. His name probably still isn't as prominent as it was a couple years ago due to the emo rap genre dying down, with people like Juice WRLD, X, and Lil Peep all passing away, and emo rap not really being in the forefront of the mainstream no more. But I got a feeling that's perfectly fine for Tracy, because he said he never wanted to be mainstream anyways, and even now changing his whole aesthetic and current sound up, fitting for his more vampire theme that he's going with, and even made a group name called Vamp Boy Clique, which a lot of people aren't fans of because they're saying that he hasn't evolved and matured his sound, still making music like he's that same 21-year-old back in 2016 and 2015 to now currently in 2023 where he's almost 30 years old. But yeah, Tracy, he's still making music, doing his thing. He recently had a video of Cole Bennett that did decent numbers, and the song sound decently well. Not really my cup of tea, but it was pretty good though. But he still has his own lane in the current landscape of music, even 6-7 years later without Peep. Obviously not as big or as successful as his, but he's still doing his thing.
What's something you recently did that you're proud of, or something that you're looking forward to in the near future?
Something recently I did that I'm proud of. I'm not gonna lie, it was a show, a festival in Chicago. Shout out Cole Bennett. You know, y'all know Lyrical Lemonade.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they booked me, and it was the most people I ever seen in a crowd. You know, and it made me emotional because, you know, I run with Lil Peep, and we never really got the chance to do that, but I did it, and that made me really happy. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure with Lil Tracy. I'm glad that made you happy as well.